congratulations on this. It's an amazing film. It's an amazing story. What's it like for you to see your father portrayed on screen like this, given the memories that you have across all the years?
Well, it's fantastic to see, and what better person to play him than Pierce Brosnan? I mean, an Irish fella, James Bond, Thomas Crown Affair, the roles he's played, they're fantastic. I've always been a fan of Pierce Brosnan, and you couldn't really have asked for a better person to play him, and, he's got the look of him, and that's, even better, because sometimes you do get films where, not that it's a requirement really, I don't think, but just the mannerisms, the way he comes across, Pierce, it's like he just captures my father to a T.
And while it's a story about boxing, it's very much about relationships and integrity, and that's something that shines through about your father. So was that something you can reflect on in real life?
Yeah, I mean that was him to a T. The way they got him. I mean, obviously Rowan, the producer, director. He'd obviously watched a lot of Brendan. Obviously Pierce had watched a lot, and they did capture the essence of it all. Within 15 or 20 minutes into that film, I'm thinking, this is my dad. It's like he's come back, so to speak. So then you bought into it then. It's not like, there was no distraction. Once you're locked into that film, within the first 15, 20 minutes, you're locked in for the 2 hours nearly. And you can't believe how fast it goes, because every point in that film, it's interesting, it keeps you locked in. There's always something happening. And obviously, because I know the storyline, you can relate to it even better. I mean, it will appeal to everybody, because it's very, very easy to absorb and take in. It's not complicated. It's a human nature story, so to speak, and our fame affects people on both sides, and like I say, he's captured it perfectly.
And for you must have memories about all of these events from when you were a kid. Is there anything in there that you wish they put in there?
No. I mean, there's a lot more they could have put in. There's things they could have taken out. There's so much. It would probably make a Netflix series, but the way they've done this is perfect. We were consultants on the film. Me and my brother John trained us alongside my dad when he was the amateur, because my dad couldn't train amateur fighters. He could train them, but he couldn't go in the corner with them. So as you see in the film, it's my brother in the corner. So they went up and down the country, and they had a guy driving him who was an Irish fellow called Kieran McGrath. He got a driving licence. He was like 30 years old, and he was a rep. And my brother couldn't drive. Naz couldn't drive. He was too young, and they used to drive all over the country, taking us to these fights and fighting in Manchester, Liverpool, and because it was always great, because we'd turn up and we'd be fighting the local kid, and we'd get all this animosity and all this grief and people shouting and bawling. Listen, then Naz would level them. Listen, it all went quiet, and then they'd leave. It was like they come and robbed a bank and off they went. And you could see from that early age the confidence with Naz. Was going to shine through as a pro. And one of the stories, he only boxed for England once, and it was against the USA. I think it was 7 against 7, and Naz was the only kid who won, and they all had to wear the GB kit, and Naz wouldn't wear it. So they're knocking on his door. Come on, you got to get changed. So I'm praying, which he was praying, but he got his own stuff on, his own kit, the shorts and everything. By the time they got him out of the room to fight, they couldn't really change him, and he was the only one who won that night. He was the only one who beat the Americans. So the GB coach didn't like it, because he was a bit different, a bit flash, a bit flamboyant. But you could see then from an early age that Naz was going to take his own route.
Oh, and one of the things I love about this is because it tells the whole story from start to finish, in that people don't often see the work that goes behind it. I sometimes say to people, how much effort did it take to become an overnight success?
Yeah.
And in this, you do get to see a lot of the graft, or get an idea of how much graft there was in that. So for you as a family, how much was and is boxing part of your life and the day-to-day?
Well, when I was a kid, I very rarely saw my father, because he got 5 kids. So by the time we got up for school, say 7 o'clock, he'd gone to work. He worked all day. We came in from school. My mother used to feed us at 3:30. Yeah, he'd finish work at 4 o'clock. He'd go straight in the gym. Then he'd come in, and we had a gas oven. We didn't have no microwaves, and she'd cook his dinner at the same time as us and put a pan lid over it, put it on the oven on a low heat, and keep it warm for 2 hours till he came in. So he'd come in, eat his dinner on himself, then he'd go into his little office, which was under the stairs, and he'd be on the phone for 2 hours. So we might see him at the weekends, or we might see him for 10 minutes, because his life was the gym, because he had to feed 5 kids. He got a basic job, and he did boxing on the sideline kind of thing, but that's where he did it, and he spent all the time there. So, you know, if we wanted to see him, we had to go to the gym, and then we'd have to get caught off to the boxing shows, or, you know, the weekend we'd be off travelling around boxing. Everything was geared around boxing. It's like, well, it's boxing, that's what it is. That's what our life was. Whether you liked it or you didn't like it, you had to do it. So, you know, it was a lot of work that went into the production of Naz, and it was, you know, so many failed attempts. We had Errol Graham, we had other fighters from the past, where Brendan Ingle got to the mark and got to the success, but it took Naz to finally get it right. I can always remember Naz, he used to take him everywhere and say, listen, this is what you're going to be doing, and he'd take him in the corner with Errol Graham, when Errol Graham got knocked out by Julian Jackson, when Johnny Nelson boxed in America, and I always remember Brendan was, you know, berating Johnny Nelson in the corner, and Naz went, Brendan, don't be like that with him, you know. I mean, I went, shut up, you, this is going to be you in a few years' time. You could see, so Naz had the education way before he stepped in the ring, and even when he was an amateur, he was going to the world title fights, and my dad's saying, this is what you're going to be doing. So when you're an amateur, you're boxing, you're training, you think, well, I just win me the next fight, but Brendan was saying to him, look, yeah, you might be winning the next fight, but then you're going to turn pro, you're going to be this champion, you're going to be that. This is where you're going to be boxing. You're going to be boxing in Madison Square Garden, you're going to be boxing in London, Royal Albert Hall. That's what that's where you're going to be going. So he'd give him the plan, what he was doing, and put the ideas in his head. So by the time Naz rolled, we thought, well, this is, you know, born to be king.
Well, congratulations, consultant, on this film. It's a fantastic story, and lovely to meet you.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. Cheers. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey, you guys!
Hey, you guys!
Hey, that's what they all say.
Hey, you guys!